The ownership shift, the moment you stop explaining and start building. In Mr. Stick's framework, finance psychology. Here we are. This is the point where everything changes. Not gradually, not conceptually, decisively. Because up to now you've seen why you stay stuck, how you repeat patterns, what influences your behavior, where your decisions go wrong. And at this point, there's only one question left. What are you going to do about it? The line most people never cross. Most people understand their problems. They can explain them clearly. It's my environment. It's how I was raised. It's the economy. It's timing. And to be fair, some of that is true. But here's the issue. Understanding the problem is not the same as taking control of it. And most people stop at understanding. The ownership shift defined. The ownership shift is simple. Not easy, but simple. It is the moment you decide. From this point forward, my results are my responsibility. Not your past, not your starting point, but everything from here is on you. Responsibility versus blame. Let's clarify something important. Ownership is not about blame. It's not saying everything is your fault or that you caused every problem. That's not accurate. Ownership is saying, regardless of how things started, I control what happens next. That is power, not pressure. Why people avoid ownership. Ownership removes excuses, and excuses provide comfort. Because if something is not your responsibility, then you don't have to change it. So people hold onto explanations like, that's just how things are. This is how I grew up. Not everyone has the same opportunities. Again, some of that may be true, but none of it builds your future. The control line. There are things you cannot control. The past, other people, the economy, where you started. And there are things you can control. Your behavior, your decisions, your habits, your financial actions. Most people focus on what they cannot control. Ownership requires focusing on what you can. The behavioral shift. When ownership is absent, you react, explain, justify. When ownership is present, you act, adjust, and build. It's a different posture. You stop waiting. You start moving. The financial reality. When someone takes ownership financially, they track their money, control their spending, invest consistently, and build systems. When they don't, they blame income, blame circumstances, delay action, and stay dependent. Not because they can't do better, but because they haven't taken control. The excuse cycle. Without ownership, the pattern is simple. A problem appears. An explanation follows. Nothing changes. The cycle repeats. With ownership, the pattern shifts. A problem appears. A decision is made. Action follows. Adjustments are made. One leads to repetition. The other leads to progress. The discomfort of control. Ownership is uncomfortable because now you can't hide behind excuses. You can't delay responsibility. You can't shift blame. Everything comes back to you. And for many people, that's exactly why they avoid it. The turning point. There's a moment, quiet but powerful, where you realize no one is coming to fix this. No perfect timing. No external rescue. Just you. And once that clicks, something changes. You stop waiting. You start building. The compounding effect of ownership. Ownership compounds. Small actions repeated over time begin to stack. Tracking expenses. Saving consistently. Making better decisions. Over time, these turn into stability, growth, and independence. Not instantly, but inevitably. The identity upgrade. Ownership changes identity. You stop being someone who reacts, explains, and waits. You become someone who acts, builds, and adjusts. That shift is everything. The financial consequence. If you do not take ownership, you delay investing, remain inconsistent, stay dependent on income, and repeat the same mistakes. If you do take ownership, you gain control, build systems, create stability, and move toward independence. Same world, different outcome. Final words from Mr. Sticks. Ownership is not about where you started. It's about where you decide to go from here. So here's your directive. Stop explaining your situation. Start taking control of it. Because the moment you take ownership is the moment your life becomes something you can actually build. If this made you pause and reflect on where you've been placing responsibility, don't ignore that. That awareness matters. More is coming, but it only works if you apply it. From this point forward, it's yours to build. Please remember to hit like and subscribe. Shalom.